Hello, hello, hello. This is Live with Michelle Van, where we talk about health, wealth, and spirituality. And today we are here with Raquel Patterson. Woo! We're so excited, so excited today as we look at making sure that we understand about maternal health. And as we're always looking at making sure that we connect our moms with great resources as I came across Raquel from church, but then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm loving this whole other side of her because we are multidimensional women. We do more than one thing, and while we do serve God and love God and do all things that are ministry, we also have other interests and other aspects in which we serve the kingdom. And so, welcome, Raquel.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do in the world, and how you got to being a business owner.
Okay, so I'm Raequel Patterson. Of course, I'm so happy to be featured here today with Michelle. Thank you so much for having me. So I am a wife, I am a mom, I am a pastor, I am an author, I am a certified breastfeeding specialist. I am, just like she said, multi-dimensional. And how did I get to owning my business? One Pump Mama is my business. It started off as Pump Mama Pump. It started off with me creating a brand and a page for a community for moms to come and talk about exclusively pumping. I had my first baby. He was in the NICU. I wanted to breastfeed him. Unfortunately, I was unable to latch him on my breast. And so I had to start off with exclusively pumping. And so
Mm.
because I was so successful with my exclusively pumping journey, one of my friends encouraged me to write a book. And I did. The book was called Pump Mama Pump. And it was a book or a guide for moms, basically millennial moms who didn't feel like reading like all the things online. I just wanted
Right.
to put everything about everything in one book that I had learned from my experience. And so Pump Mama Pump, I'm sorry, was formed there. So that was my first product. It was a book. I became an author and I wrote about all things pumping. And so that's how the journey began.
Hmm. And so you said you converted that into the business that you have now, which is what's the difference in the name?
So the name is One Pump Mama. So when I created One Pump Mama, I thought I was going to be finished with pumping. I thought I was going to be done. I was still in the journey, but it was like towards the end of it. And I
Hmm.
still wanted to talk about all things motherhood. So I wanted to be one pump mama, pumped about motherhood, pumped about breastfeeding, pumped about all the things,
Come
but
on
just
now,
not
be pumped.
pump mama pump. Yeah, not just pump mama pump because it kind of kept me in a box where it was just like, we're only going to talk about pumping. So one pump mama will
Right.
give you the ability to kind of talk about everything as it related to being a mom. And so
Hmm.
I created that brand, and that brand was a spinoff. So we created products that are helping moms with organization to this day. Like I said before, I didn't think I was going to have any more babies, but God surprised me. I love his surprises. And so
Yeah,
last
we
year,
were definitely surprised by the last one.
yes, I think that it impacted everybody. So so yeah, we found out we were pregnant last year. Um, it was a crazy ride. That pregnancy was like none other but God ordained, and now we have a 5-month-old baby today. And we're utilizing the products that we created for other moms. So it's just been a great journey.
So overall, how many kids do you have and kind of what are their ages?
So I have 4 babies. We prayed for one, God multiplied. And so I have a 7-year old, a 6-year old, a 4-year old, and a 5-month old.
Okay. And as you think about that journey in breastfeeding, what made you feel like that was the way you wanted to go?
So I always wanted to breastfeed. A lot of my friends who had babies before me, they talked about the benefits of breastfeeding, all of those things. So I knew that was something that I wanted to do going in. I thought that I would have time to kind of get a lactation specialist to teach me all the things about how to do
Hmm.
it, what to do, when to do it, hunger cues, all the different things. I didn't have that because my baby was born at 34 weeks old. So
Mm.
All I knew was that my water broke on a Sunday morning. I was at Target, water broke. And I just knew at that moment I had to figure it out.
Uh-oh.
And
It's
so then,
it's on
yeah,
and popping.
yes, it was on and popping. So the nurse came in and she said, "You may not be able to latch your baby at your breast because he had a feeding tube because he was so young, he didn't have the suckling reflex. You may not be able to latch the baby at your breast, but you do have an alternative. I want you to go downstairs. Don't cry," because I was, very upset. Like, I don't want to latch my baby. And she said, go downstairs and get the pump, and you'll be able to provide milk for your baby. And so at first I didn't get anything. I'm like, this is not working, ma'am. And she said, keep doing it, keep doing it. Every 3 hours, keep doing it. By the time the day is over, or by the time the next day is over, you should have milk for your baby. By that day, I had milk for my baby. And so I was just like, this is the way that I have to do it until he gets out of the NICU. And once he got out of the NICU, I think I was so used to actually pumping that I just was like, I don't know if I want to latch because it just seemed so difficult for him. So I just knew that exclusively pumping was going to be the way for me. But I always wanted to provide the nutrients for my body to my baby. And plus, of course, one of the benefits is I don't have to buy formula.
Absolutely. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
We're here and we're talking with Miss Raequael Patterson, and we have been talking about her experience pumping and being a mom. And one of the things that a lot of moms will say is, I, you talked about the fact that you weren't able to latch the first time. And I think, people have that expectation that latching is going to be how my baby and I are going to bond and all of these things. And, will I be able to bond with my baby if I can't latch with them? But there are ways because, formula babies do bond as well. And so there are ways to bond, even though you aren't necessarily latching and feeding actually from the breast, but you were giving that milk, so they were still getting that
Hmm.
absolute wonderful nutrients that was coming from you to your baby.
Yes.
As you think about that, what are some things that you would give advice you would give to moms who are struggling with that piece? Because that latching piece sometimes is very difficult. And yes, you may get a lactation nurse, but you may not. So, what does that look like as far as advice to a mom to say, hey, this is what you should do?
So one of the things that I do want to acknowledge is that pumping is still breastfeeding. It's just a different way or different technique to breastfeed your baby, but pumping is still breastfeeding. So I know that sometimes there's a little bit of shame that's associated with not being able to latch directly, but like you
Mm-hmm.
said before, there is still a bonding that you can have with your baby, whether it's formula, your baby is formula fed, whether you are pumping, or whether you are nursing directly at the breast. You're still able to bond with your baby. So I just wanted to dismantle that shame that may be associated with the fact that it's like, oh my gosh, I can't directly feed my baby from my breast. But you are still feeding your baby from your breast, but using a different technique. So that's one piece of advice. Another
Mm-hmm.
piece of advice that I want to give is that there is so much education and so much information that will help you to have a successful breastfeeding journey with whatever technique you choose. Now, latching can be different because it could be different things that kind of cause your baby not to latch, whether it be a tongue tie or different things like that. So if you can't find a lactation nurse or lactation specialist or someone who specializes in that particular area of breastfeeding, there are resources out there that are free. Some are insurance covered that you can
Mm-hmm.
actually get that will help you on your journey, however you choose to breastfeed your baby. So that's just one piece of advice. You don't have to struggle alone. I know for
Mm-hmm.
me, we have a community. I have a community of 38,000 moms that are there. We kind of talk about what pumping looks like. People send me direct messages about how to pump, what type of pump do I suggest? Now, I do know that each pump does respond differently to a
Right.
mama. So
You
it's
get
not a
those
one
ones that
size
it's
fits.
like it
Yeah.
sucks everything out of you from the time you
Yes.
were
So
born.
fast. Yes. And that's the thing. So each mom responds differently to different breast pumps, and you have to find the one that works best for you. So it's just all of those things that factor into it. Maybe flange sizing, when it comes down to pumping, that causes you to feel uncomfortable with pumping.
Hmm.
So you just have to um, try out all of your resources, or utilize, I'm sorry, all of your resources that are available to you. And the internet is so expansive. So
Yeah.
don't be overwhelmed with it, or fall into
Hmm.
the sunken place with it, because there's so many there's so much information out there. But I think that you just need to find a reputable place, maybe not Reddit, maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Maybe it may not even be a Facebook group, but find someone who can actually help you, and you don't just know you don't have to do it alone.
So, what's the name of the group that you have or are a part of?
So the name of the group that I have is called One Pump Mama.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's the name of the group as well as the business.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And so if people are looking for that, are they finding it on Facebook? Is it a website?
So you can find it on Facebook. You can find it on Instagram. I do have a website, but my website is not updated for like blogs or anything yet. It's just for the
Hmm.
shopping experience.
Okay.
And I do have a TikTok page as well. That one is
Okay.
Mama as well. The number
Okay.
one TikTok though.
Number one. Okay. And so as it's just amazing. I know, well, I haven't nursed in 30 years, but it's one of those things that it's very easy to judge what you believe other people are doing, what you think, oh, oh, it's so easy for them, or oh, it's so easy for it. It's not always that easy. And while it is a natural thing, it's not always an easy natural thing. It is natural to be able to serve your child and to be that to be that conduit for them to be nourished, for them to be loved, for them to be all of these things. Yet it can be one of the most difficult things because your body doesn't always react in the ways that you would love for it to. Sometimes you've got that child that's eating, 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 and you can't keep up with them. Sometimes you have that child that you absolutely um, have more than enough for. And so, it can be either or as you're looking at this. But we're going to talk a little bit more about this as we come back. This is Live with Michelle Van. We're talking about health, wealth, and spirituality. We will be right back. We are back. Now, we have been talking about, that latching, not being able to latch, having those difficulties when women get to that place where I can remember being in a wedding and my daughter started to cry. And I was like, no, stop, don't cry. Because I could immediately, and then I thought, oh, do I have enough pads on?
Yeah.
Because it is a real thing. It's a real thing for, how do you go back to work? How do you, go to church? How do you do all of these things with breasts that you can't necessarily control?
Yeah. So as for me, because I pump around the clock, so I pump every 3 hours. I'm kind of like weaning a little bit off of it, so I don't have to pump as often, because I'm an oversupplier. So, I have a lot of milk, and of course, it didn't start like that. My journey with each child is different, and so with this particular
Mm-hmm.
child, my milk came in really, really slowly. So I did have to formula feed originally, and I do that because I do not like to be stressed about whether or not I'm going to be able to feed my baby, and that kind of causes my milk
Mm-hmm.
to plummet if I'm really stressed. And so
Mm-hmm.
I formula fed him, while he was in the hospital. He came home around 2 or 3 days is when my milk started to really come in, where it was enough to actually give him instead of giving him the formula. But I was okay with that because again, this is my fourth child. So I think the shame is associated with that as well. But
Right.
um, because I feed so much, or because I pump so much, I'm sorry, it's like my breasts are always like so full. And so one of the things that has helped me on this particular journey, and kind of like the last journey as well is companies are becoming so innovative where they're creating breast pumps that actually go into your clothes. Like you don't have to like have the
Right.
flanges or carry them, or you have
Right.
bras that actually have the holes for you to be able to put the flanges in and all kind of things where you can kind of
Hmm.
be hands free, do the laundry, clean up the house, all the things with with a
Right.
breast pump, just kind of more comfortable and convenient for moms. And so I think that that makes it a little bit easier, but it's amazing how even with a baby who is not latched, you still have the
Hmm.
same experiences that you would with a baby that is latched. Like you said, like, do I have enough breast pads on? Or
Right.
when my baby cries, do I feel that sensation? And I feel all of
Hmm.
that, even though my baby is upstairs crying right now and I'm down here.
Right.
So yeah, we kind of still have those same experiences. But what I will say is that um, exclusively pumping does require a little bit more preparation because
Okay.
you have to have all of the parts. If you forget one, then you can't pump. And nobody wants to hand express because it takes
That.
forever. Yeah,
Right.
it takes forever. Whereas when you have a baby with you, of course, you just have to make sure you have the right clothing on so you can lift it up or pull it down.
Right.
So all of them provide a level of inconvenience, but the benefits of again kind of outweigh the inconveniences, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Absolutely. And as you're looking at these, I think technology has advanced so much. I mean, the pumps that we were using 30 years ago are definitely different than the ones that I see moms using now. But how do you see, you've got a span of four kids, and I'm sure even within those 7 years since the first one to right now, you've seen some changes.
Yeah.
And you have equipment that you sell. So
Mhm.
what are the changes that you're seeing and that you even see that are kind of coming along for new moms?
So some of the changes and the innovations that I'm seeing are just providing more convenience for moms, as well as trying to normalize the breastfeeding journey. For instance, for me,
Mm,
when I had my first baby, the breast pump bags that they had are the ones that came with the breast pump.
right.
Financially, the manufacturers care less about the bag, they care more about the pump. And so it's like, we'll give you a little frumpy bag and that's fine. And so
Hmm.
that's where I come in. It's like, you know what? Motherhood doesn't have to be frumpy. Motherhood doesn't have to
Come
be
on now.
what somebody else describes it as. You can make your motherhood journey what you want your motherhood journey to be. And
Hmm.
everything, your pump bag doesn't have to scream pump bag. Nobody has to say, can be like, oh, that's her pump bag. It can be a cute bag. It can be very
Right.
chic, very versatile, something that can
Hmm.
last you beyond your breastfeeding journey and something that you feel proud about carrying. And so that's where I stepped in, and that's where I found my mark. It's creating products that are going to make moms feel normal in corporate
Hmm.
America, in the workplace, whether they're at the park, whether they're shopping, wherever they go. I want moms to know, you have a beautiful bag that you're carrying, and you can feel normal about this journey. It doesn't have to, have the scarlet letter.
God,
Yeah,
baby, will pump.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that becomes so important, whether it's the bags, whether it's the clothes. I think that was always the issue. I know with my very first one, that was the issue. Is like, I don't want to wear maternity clothes. I don't want to look like somebody's grandma. And so I think that's part of, that struggle is, wearing those maternity clothes, getting those spaces where we have the clothes, we have the gear that make us look cute, make us feel great, and make us at that space where we're not don't feel inhibited by
Yeah.
being out there and still looking beautiful.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so glad that they've created clothing that is just not flowers everywhere. Like it's just like, give me a little bit more, like maybe a solid
Yeah.
here and there, maybe something that just doesn't say she's breastfeeding, that kind of thing.
Right. Right.
So yeah, they've created all kind of like new zippers, new innovations that are just incredible, honestly.
Absolutely. This is Live Michelle Van. We're talking to Miss Raquel Patterson, and we will be right back. Hi, it is just amazing how our time flies by every time. And we are at our last section, but we wanted to make sure that people understand. So if they are deciding, so say maybe I'm pregnant right now and I'm trying to determine, got somebody in my ear saying you should breastfeed. I got somebody in my ear saying, girl, bye. Ain't nobody got time for that. Get you some formula and keep it pushing. What is the thing that you encourage them to do?
So I encourage you to make the best decision that you can make for you, for your mental health, because I will say that there is a lot that goes into breastfeeding. The benefits are massive. You provide antibodies for your baby. The number of white blood cells are in every drop of breast milk. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like benefits are you save money, unless you're
Mm-hmm.
spending money because you're scrolling while you're breastfeeding. But the benefits are endless. But I would say make the best decision for your mental health. Each
Mm-hmm.
person's journey is individual.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at people all day long and see what they're producing and what they're doing, but it depends on what you want to do as an individual.
Mm-hmm. As you think about that individual journey and that choice, I think for me, one of my first things was I could lose the weight because it burns calories beyond belief, and I was like, oh, would you what? Okay, come on over here. So I think to me that was one of the benefits that I thought was absolutely like I couldn't lose it any other way.
Mhm.
That breastfeeding did work. Um, Tell me how, as women are out here, they've made the decision to breastfeed. They're looking for community. What does your community offer them, and what does that look like for them to join that community?
So right now, because again, my community is for exclusively pumping moms. I did actually nurse on this journey as well. I didn't implement too much of that because I don't have a lot of education as relates to like the latching and different things like that. And I just want to make sure that I'm giving information that I've experienced and that, yeah, basically that I've experienced. I want to give
Mm-hmm.
that kind of information. And so my community is going to offer support on to moms who are on an exclusively breastfeeding journey. But if I don't have the information that you need, I can point you into the right direction to
Mm-hmm.
get the help that you need from a board certified lactation counselor, a CLC, a CBS, whoever you may need to get that support, I can point you in that
Mm-hmm.
direction. So, but my community is going to offer humor, it's going to offer products, it's going to offer services that can actually help you on your breastfeeding journey through
So
pumping.
what kind of products am I going to see there?
So on my page, you're going to see my inaugural product, which is the Pump Caddy. That's an organizational product that's going to allow you to carry all of the things that you need throughout the house, whether you your workplace. But the one thing that I love about it that's not like an ordinary diaper caddy is the fact that it has a strap on it. And
Oh,
so
okay.
you can move from room to room and still be hands free and still carry your baby. You don't have to choose between whether I want to go up and down the steps with my baby or not, and have the things with you because you can put everything in there and still take your baby downstairs or move from place to place. So that was my
Mm-hmm.
inaugural product. The next product that I launched was the minimalist and the maximalist breast pump bags. So they are like
Mm-hmm.
diaper bags, but they have a compartment for your breast pump. And so your breast pump is
Okay.
kept safe in that particular bag. Even if you put it on the ground, of course, financially, we do that. It has padding in it so that, your breast pump is safe. And then I launched a few fanny packs and a cooler bag. Everything that I launch is
Stuff
versatile
that you
enough.
decided you were like,
Hold
I
on.
didn't see one I liked.
Yep. Yep. And the thing is, most of the cooler bags that I would see would be like, they were like more shaped like you could just carry them as a cooler bag.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is more like a purse, and so it has a handle, and you can also put like
Okay.
a strap across you. So when you don't want to carry it as a cooler bag anymore, it's a purse now. So everything that I create is versatile that can be used beyond your breastfeeding
Mm-hmm.
journey. So
That is
yeah,
amazing. Yeah. I mean, if I'm gonna spend the money, I want to be able to use it now and then.
yeah. Now and later.
Yes. That is amazing. Again, remind people where do they connect with you? What are your socials and where are they connecting?
Okay, so you can connect with me on Instagram at one pumped pumped mama. TikTok, the number one pumped pumped mama. Facebook is still pump mama pump because Facebook is, these different channels that they want to do. But it's Pump Mama Pump on Facebook. And then I have a website, which is www.onepumped, pumped mama.com.
Amazing. It is so good to talk to you. I think too often, again, we see people in one dimension,
Hmm.
but we are so multidimensional in how we serve the community, how we live out our passions, how we live out what we do, and just want to remind people, good gravy. Remind people that it is amazing when you can walk in your purpose, when you can walk in your purpose, you can walk in your plan. It seems like so much more fun. It is a great time when we can share with our moms, with our young moms, how to get through the journey, how to come through where they're going through. Um, I know that even for me, when we first started, it was just much more difficult that first time, and then the next time is a little better, and the next time is a little better, and so you just get that opportunity to just be able to learn and to grow and to have community, which I think is an amazing thing. And so we thank you so much for being able to share with us. And like we tell you every single week, that no matter what you do and where you go, we love you. And there is nothing you can do about that. And we will see you next Friday. So have a good day. Hang tight.